Today we are looking at how FDR helped to alleviate the economic and financial stresses of the Great Depression with the help of Congress through government-sponsored and created programs. Many of these programs were meant to restart the economy through the distribution of capital. Those that would receive money from the government were given jobs to complete in order to actually earn the money while performing creative and needed tasks that helped to restart the faltering economy. Although the Great Depression was the worst economic calamity in the history of the United States, FDR created many relief organizations to support lower-class families affected by the Great Depression, such as the FERA, the TVA, and the NIRA during the New Deal that minimized the economic and financial stresses felt by the public as much as possible.
Prior to FDR's reign, America was a hot mess of economic turmoil. Under the leadership of Herbert Hoover, the American economy suffered due to the consequences of laissez-faire. The rugged individualism and dependency on voluntary cooperation between workers and owners of businesses caused a system where, without the government assistance and supervision, the already faltering U.S. economy metaphorically crumbled, resulting in the largest recession to date. So big, in fact, he was bequeathed the title of the Great Depression. Americans flocked to FDR because he promised a new approach to the economic hardships that were confronting the nation. He initiated many public works projects, supported by Congress, that gave many young men jobs to earn money. However, unemployment rates were still above 10% throughout the 1930s, but without FDR, they surely would be higher.
One of the services offered by the federal government during the Great Depression was financial aid. For example, the Federal Emergency Relief Administration, or the FERA, provided cash to state governments to distribute to unemployed citizens. Under this program, the federal government distributed over $500 million to the unemployed Americans nationwide. So obviously that was very significant. Another program was the Works Progress Administration, or the WPA. It was the most expensive government program in the history of the United States. However, it gave millions of unemployed Americans work. WPA projects helped in employing an average of 2 million Americans during its existence.
The National Industrial Recovery Act, or NIRA, signed in 1933, organized the economy by splitting it into categories: the Labor Advisory Board, the Industrial Advisory Board, a Consumers Advisory Board, among others. With the help of the government, these organizations were setting prices and production levels that are best for the economy. The National Recovery Administration, NRA, was created under the NIRA. The purpose of the NRA was to establish fair competition by developing standards followed by all businesses. These standards included provisions for minimum wages, voluntary union participation, and shorter work hours. This gave employees the right to organize and bargain collectively with their employers. Furthermore, the law forbade employers from banning union membership. The National Industrial Recovery Act, NIRA, signed in 1933, organized the economy by splitting it into categories: Labor Advisory Board, Industrial Advisory Board, a Consumers Advisory Board, and others. With the help of the government, these organizations were setting prices and production levels that are best for the economy. The National Recovery Administration, NRA, was created under the NIRA. The purpose of the NRA was to establish fair competition by developing standards followed by all businesses. These standards included provisions for minimum wages, voluntary union participation, and shorter work hours. This gave employees the right to organize and bargain collectively with their employers. Furthermore, the law forbade employers from banning union membership. As shown on the graph, union membership significantly spiked during 1935 to 1950, or at least till 1945. There's a short drop though union membership has been declining in recent years.
Another service offered by the government during the Great Depression were public works projects. First was the Tennessee Valley Authority, or the TVA, which revitalized a broad region of the Southeast. The TVA built dams that controlled flooding and generated power for residents of the area. Before the TVA, only 2% of people had power, but afterward, nearly 100% did. Next, the Civil Works Administration, or the CWA. With a budget more than $1 billion, they put more than 4 million people to work at temporary labor-based jobs. As you can see below, the dam built was named Pickwick, and it was on the Tennessee River.
Social Security Act, SSA, created the first federal insurance system for the first time in American history. It provided monthly payments for Americans over the age of 65. In addition, it provided money for the unemployed, single mothers, and handicapped or dependent children. This program required working Americans to pay a small percentage of earnings to the government for funding later in life. Reconstruction Finance Corporation, RFC, made the common man be helped by the Securities Act of 1933. This corporation helped prevent the unjust practices of banks. Before 1929, banks would invest people's money into the stock market. So whenever the stocks lost money, the banks would lose money, and they wouldn't have enough to pay people back.
As you can see from the political cartoon above, the American people, represented by the sick man sitting down, were cured through New Deal remedies offered by FDR and a new government.
The medicines shown, like the NRA, FACA, CWA, and FERA, all proved, though not entirely useful and some rather costly, to help fix a lot of America and its problems.